Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Sherry and today we are going to make old-fashioned buttermilk biscuits. These biscuits are so fluffy and flaky, buttery and delicious. I will show you how to make the perfect layers and the perfect fluffy biscuit. Let's get started. Here are the ingredients that you will need for the old-fashioned buttermilk biscuits. So the very first thing we want to do is I'm going to make homemade buttermilk. The reason why I'm going to show you this is I've searched for the last 2 weeks for buttermilk in the grocery stores and haven't been able to find any. I don't know if it's a supply chain issue or a shortage or what, but that's how it's been going lately. So I'm going to show you how to make your own, which I have done this for years and years. All you have to have is white vinegar and milk. So I'm going to start this in the beginning so that this can sit and turn into buttermilk. It's 1 tablespoon of white vinegar per 1 cup of milk. So I'm going to make 2 cups right here. You're going to give it a quick stir and then you're going to set this aside so it can turn into buttermilk. But if you have buttermilk on hand, go ahead and use 1 1/4 cup of buttermilk. But we will use it a little bit later in the recipe. So let's go ahead and add 3 cups of all-purpose flour. I'm going to show you how I measure my flour right here. I usually spoon it into my measuring cup and then scrape off the top with a butter knife. That way you're not packing the flour into your cup and making a dry biscuit. You just want a light, fluffy pack into the cup. Now we're going to add 4 teaspoons of baking powder. Next, we're going to add 2 tablespoons of white sugar. Then add 1 teaspoon of salt. Next, we're going to add 3/4 teaspoon of cream of tartar. Mix the dry ingredients together really well and then set this aside. Okay, next, when you make these biscuits, we want to use ice cold butter. So I've had this butter in the freezer for about 30 minutes and I'm going to use 3/4 of a cup, so it's about 1 1/2 cubes of butter. We're going to grate this butter so that it's nice and frozen. We grate it and it will be evenly dispersed throughout our biscuit mixture. After you've grated the butter, go ahead and add it to your dry mixture. And if you have a pastry cutter, you can go ahead and mix it with the pastry cutter. If not, just use a fork and mix it in really well so it'll be kind of like a grainy, bumpy texture. After you've mixed the butter in, you're going to make a hole in the center of your dry ingredients, and then we're going to add our buttermilk mixture. I don't need this whole mixture. I made a little bit extra, so I'm only going to use 1 1/4 cup of buttermilk. Using a fork, you're going to mix this until it's just moistened. You don't want to overmix. Lightly flour your surface, and then we're going to place our dough on top of the flour. Lightly flour the top of your dough and make sure your hands are floured, and we're just going to knead this very lightly, about 5 or 6 times. Knead the dough. Now we're going to start flattening out our dough. If you need to add more flour to your hands, that's fine. You just don't want to over flour the dough because then you'll get a dry biscuit. So lightly press this out onto your countertop, and then we're going to fold the dough over, and this is where your layers will be created. So fold the dough over. Now you're going to lightly press again and fold the dough over again. You're going to fold the dough over a total of 3 times to create those flaky layers. Okay, now we're going to fold the dough over one last time for a total of 3 times. Okay, so now you're going to start shaping your dough so that we can cut our biscuits. Make sure that your countertop is lightly floured so that the biscuits don't stick. I had a little bit of dough that stuck to my countertop, so I'm just cleaning it off and creating a nice clean floured surface so I can shape these biscuits. Flatten your dough to create a large rectangle. Then I'm going to measure. I like my dough to be about 3/4 of an inch thick. Then we're going to measure the top of the dough and make 2 slits and make 3 even slits along the side. That way you're going to get 12 biscuits. Then just go ahead and you could take a pizza cutter, or you can take a dough scraper and just start cutting those shapes into your biscuit dough. Then I'm going to take a cookie sheet lined with parchment paper, and then just start placing your dough onto the parchment paper. Next, you're going to place your biscuits in the freezer for 30 minutes. After they've been in the freezer for 30 minutes, place them in a preheated 450-degree oven for 14 to 15 minutes. Your biscuits are done when they're nice and light golden brown on the top. Oh, the smell of these biscuits makes me so happy. So look at these. They are so light and fluffy, and look at the layers that we created as we folded the dough over. They are buttery, flaky, fluffy. They are so delicious. So please let me know in the comments down below if you make this recipe and if you like it. Also, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so and click the little notification bell, and that way you won't miss any of my videos. Thank you so much for being here and for supporting me, and I appreciate each and every one of you. Love you. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks. Bye.